Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I didn't plan to do this video, so if I seem a little all over the place, I'm sorry. But I wanted to talk about how to tell your story because a lot of people have watched my last video about my story and everything. And I did get a couple questions from some people closer to me, like asking about, talking about mentioning my family in the video and everything, because I did refer, I remember I said I was dealing with an angry mom and a crazy dad, and I just wanted to kind of clear that up because I don't want anyone to think that I was trying to be disrespectful. And so, because I feel like in telling your story, the number one thing is to make sure, it's not something that should be done right away. Not in a public way, kind of what I did. Because when you tell your story on a larger scale, you want to make sure that you're telling the actual story and not just, you don't want it to be coming from a place of hurt or anger or pain, because that will only perpetuate the cycle of hurt and pain, right? Because we're all human. We're all just trying to make it out here. We all just trying to do what we need to do and get to heaven. So I just wanted to kind of clear some stuff up. So for me, in telling my story like that, I feel it's very important to preserve the truth. And the truth is, at the time when I was struggling, I did feel like my father was crazy. I was not close to him at all. Actually, I used to refer to him as my Y chromosome, my sperm donor, all of that, because he did a lot of wrong in my life. And that's just the reality of it. And my mom, she was not an angry person all the time, but she had a lot of anger pent up because of her own life and her situation. And again, their marriage was not the best. So that caused a lot of tension in the home that I grew up in. And it caused a lot of issues within me that did not get to be resolved at the time. For me, the way I see it is, I read a quote a long time ago. I've never seen it since, which is super weird. But it was never rewrite your story to protect anyone because they chose the role that they played. And that is something that I hold dear to my heart, because I believe that that's completely true. Because my parents and my abusers and everybody else, they played the role, they chose the role that they played at the time. But at the same time, we're all still living, so they choose the role that they play now. My relationship with both of my parents is completely different now than what it was 4 years ago, or 5 years ago, or even a year ago, because I remember last year, my junior year, I was really struggling with my father. Not because I hated him, it wasn't a hate or dislike anymore. It was just, I want to move forward with you, but I don't know how to get past everything you've done so far. And so it's been a learning process, and I do plan to do videos about that in the future, hopefully with my father in one of them, because I feel like that's a very valuable conversation that could possibly help somebody. But yeah, I just don't believe in rewriting my story. When I said what I said, it wasn't from a place of anger at all. It was just the reality of how I felt at the time. Do I feel the same way now? No. And that is okay. And that is something that took me a while to realize. It's okay to not be angry anymore. It's okay to just forgive and actually fully forgive in my heart and continue to move on. I would not say that I'm not daddy's little girl or anything. I'm not super close with my father. Do I wish I had a different father-daughter relationship? Sometimes, yeah, I do. And that's just the truth. But I do love and honor my father because he still is my father. And I appreciate the growth that he's gone through over the last few years, because he's definitely not the same person that blamed me for being abused a few years ago, you know? So I just wanted to share that because I know that that's something that people struggle with when it comes to telling their story. Oh my gosh, so many people are going to get hurt. But at the same time, keeping your story inside will only hurt you more. I feel like it takes time. And for me, it's been 4 years in the making for me to be able to publicly share my story and be okay. Because if I had told the same story a few years ago, I would have totally bashed my dad. I would have probably ostracized my mom. It's different because there was a lot more emotion in it now. But for me, I'm at a point where when it comes to like my parents and my abusers, like person to person, I don't feel angry anymore. Like, I feel at peace with it. Not because I'm happy it happened, but for me, it's like, God, I'm just as unworthy of forgiveness as the next person. So God looks at me, my abuser, my parents, all of us on the same level. So as much as I need God to forgive me and I need other people to forgive me because I'm not perfect, I have to be able to give out that same forgiveness and that grace and love without conditions, because that's how Christ loves me. And so I don't recommend hiding your story, but I feel like it just takes time to get to a place where you're telling your story from a place of truth and not from a place of anger, which is what I tried to do in my last video. But yeah, I definitely I love and honor both of my parents. I'm not the perfect child either, so I've put them through the works, but at the same time, as I said, I want to be completely transparent with you guys, and that means talking about not just how I feel now when everything's a lot better, but how I felt at the time. And that was my truth, and that was just that was just the honest to God truth of my situation. I felt abandoned. I was angry at my parents, mostly my father, because we had a very difficult relationship from the start. I feel like it's so important to tell your story, just because your story is the making of you. And so while I do believe, again, respect and honors due always, and you never want to come off as something that you're not. You don't want to portray yourself as an angry person because you're talking from a moment of anger. So there is some maturity that has to come with telling your story, but I believe it's something that everybody should do. Maybe not on YouTube, but write a blog, or just writing letters to your family, or sharing with people like in your circle, because there's a freedom in it that is so powerful. Like, oh my gosh, y'all could not understand how wonderful it is to not have to hide anything anymore. Like, I can just talk. I can freely talk about my life and everything in it. There's no, oh, I can't mention this because then it might lead to questions about that, and then I don't want to, like, no, my story is out there. It's mine. I wear it proudly on my chest, not because it's like bragging rights, but because it's part of me. And it's something as life-changing as what I went through. It affects every single area of my life, and being able to talk about that has allowed me to be more open about everything, more open about my relationship, about my failures, about with my mom. It's actually built my relationship with my mom and all of that. So that is pretty much it. I just wanted to kind of clear that up a little bit and give some guidance, I guess, for other people. Like, I want to share, but I don't know how to. Just do it, but kind of filter through it first, I would say. But thank you guys for watching, and I do have another video that I'm about to post, so y'all might see 2 uploads in a day. We'll see. I have other things to do, so maybe not. But yeah, that was pretty much it. All right, bye!